All right. So last time we completed the that action. Just close that. Last time we completed the pages, the design for the pages, or main 6 or so pages, and stream before that we completed the yard model. So now we can start actually coding. So today, I'm just gonna bang out all these models real quick. Maybe get some of the API controllers implemented here. So go based on what dependencies there are. Now, item and subcategory sort of go together. We can create. You can create the interaction between them after the fact. Subcategory depends on category, so we could create category first. Container references itself. So, of course, there's this through here. Going to try and do this in one. Maybe I shouldn't try to do this in one big migration. Should probably build it one little piece at a time, so that we can roll back any issues that occur. So, start by enabling rack cores, because we'll need that. So XCD server, right? It's either that or just Rails bundle install. Hold on. This was months ago, so I have to look up how I did that. Early January, the last time I had to enable this.
Listen, there's a good chance somebody's trying to hack your website right now.
Hello everyone, today we're
starting a series on this and communicate. Don't tell the JavaScript. The reason why we do this, we use cores for process. This is like problem if you're trying to look at the API and install. One of the things is on like 37,
Okay,
there's
so
usually the rack/cores gem, which we're going to have to comment, and then we're going to have to run our bundle install. The reason why we do this is we use cores.
Slow down, you.
37.
Okay, hold on.
Rack/cores gem, which we're
this
going
is
to have
boring.
to comment, and then we're going to run our bundle.
Really, it's just bundle install. Are you kidding me? Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Alright, so there should be, I believe, where is the course file? Should course RB config initializers, so in here. Alright, so then we go to config initializers and course.rb. Alright. Course.rb. And then we'll just go ahead and copy this from our first project. that'll allow us to make API calls from our UI once we actually implement the UI. This will limit calls to the origin localhost 5173 if you want to actually host this applications that's accessible from other locations on the network, then you would have to change the origin to the IP address and actually when running running the server, launch it from that IP. I have instructions in one of the posts actually that I've gone over in a prior stream. So let's just run this. Done. Service. Make sure MySQL's running. It is indeed running, right? And get ourselves a browser window. Go here. Okay. Are you kidding me? Alright, so you would, of course, add your IP. Have to do an IP config command to get your actual IP address. And then you would set that in your cores file, and you'd have to launch Rails from that IP, and then add that to your Vite config to launch the client from that IP as well. But for now, localhost will do because everything's going to just be tested from localhost. Also have to install active storage. So you can get over here. Set up active storage. There is a command you have to run to actually install active storage, and that generates a table containing all your images, as well as association tables that automatically tie into any tables that have image attachments to them as part of your model. So, for example, in the blog app article, we has one attached image, and that gives us all of these records that attach blobs from blob to various articles. These are all the articles that have an image. So to enable active storage, I need to find the install active storage command. Where did they put this? They really don't have the command in here. What kind of guide is this? Ah, there we go. Run Rails active storage. There we go. So we'll have to go here. Okay, Ruby bin Rails. Now is that with a space underscore underscore? Always underscore in Ruby. And we wait. And that just copies the migration file. If you'll go to db migrate, and that just generates the code to install those tables that you can see here. So go here, we go. This is going to fail. Ruby bin Rails. What you would do next is db migrate, right? It was going to fail. Just have to wait for it, and the reason is we never actually configured our database. We don't even have tables. In fact, we do have pop-ups, but we don't have tables. You'll notice the log is here, but Warehome is not. So the first thing to do before even migrating to generate the active storage tables, or any other migrations for that matter, is to go to Warehome server. I'm going to have to, I really don't want to give away my password here, so you'll want to go to database.yaml in server config. So I'll show you the file, but where are you? We'll just take this away. Pretty sure this isn't pushed. Hope it's not pushed. No, it is, oh well. So just going to copy the password from the other application here. And my headset keeps slipping and my microphone keeps moving away from my mouth. Did you want to create the database? Rails db create. And now we have to first create the database. So and now we have our database. Now I do find that strange that it wasn't already created. I don't remember having to do a db create the first time around, but it was so long ago. Maybe the first time I started, I must have started the server and that runs a db create if it hasn't already been run. Yeah. I have a sneaking suspicion that had I run this before db create, it would have basically done the same thing. And there's an issue. Only one usage of each socket address permit. Oh, fair enough. Let me just go ahead and here's the problem. I already have a Rails server running. So, well, there's my password, oh well. Let's try this now. I believe that it is entirely possible that the first time you run Rails S without running db create, it runs db create for you at that time. That's why I don't remember having to actually run db create. But there's no way to prove that without starting over, and I'm not starting over. But now we have our server running. So now that we have our database generated, and our server is connected to our database, and our server can run, oh boy. See, I originally named it blog and then changed the directory name to server. So this would be a problem if I ever develop any other application. There'd be a name collision here. These tables. I'm gonna check for something. I might be able to fix this. Hold on. Yeah. Probably in database.yaml, honestly. So we ran into a little bit of a hiccup, so let's try and address it here. So blog development, blog test, okay. So blog production. So we want to rename these. We want to rename these tables, these databases rather. So let's bring this back over. The password's already out there. I use it for hardly anything anyway. Yeah. Terrible OPSEC. Should cancel the stream. Cancel and delete the stream. It's only used for internal things. I don't use that for any websites anyway. It's really only used for testing things, internal things. Basically, you know, like this MySQL instance. But still, feels bad to have exposed it. But anyway, I want to find database.yaml and change this to Warehome. And Warehome. And that's fine. Okay, as we config, you'll never want to store sensitive information like your database password and your source code. If your source code is ever seen by anyone, now have access to your database. For example, database URL. I have to look into that later for how to actually define that in an environment file later, but that's down the road a bit. So for now, do this. Unrails us again. And now we'll see if it generates the database. It did not. Strange. It's saved, right? Yeah, this is saved anyway to the repo, I think. It's database.yaml file. So that did not actually update the database name that it's checking for, did it? So we're going to try this now. There we go. Now we have it. Now, db migrate. If we go back into Squirrel. Okay, we'll notice server development as this sure is taking its sweet time. Okay. Well, anyway, maybe it's duck fetching because there are no tables. But now you'll see we have our schema migrations, our AR internal metadata, and all of our active storage tables. So we've enabled cores and we've enabled our active storage. So we can now start building out models and controllers. So referring back to our ER diagram, where can we begin? I think I'd like to start with item. And when I create subcategory, I should look at how let's see. I believe that when I did users and yeah, I created the join table as a separate migration for this. I think that's what I'll do here as well. Once we get through this model, and we probably will today, creating all these tables, then I'll worry about tomorrow whether I want to use devise. I've been on the fence from the start of this about whether or not it would be appropriate to use devise or just stay the course with the same structure of users tables that I had in the blog, but with the roles table in between users and permissions. I mean, either way, I'm going to have roles and permissions. It's just a question of whether I'm rolling my own user table and controller or using devise. And given that this would be a very non-standard implementation of devise because there are no emails involved, because it's an internal service, so there'd be really no point in sending out emails to people. There'd be no user recovery. I'd be using hardly any of Devise's features, really. So no password recovery because there's no emails. It seems like I'd only be using Devise just to use Devise, just to get the practice, which is a valid reason. But I also want this to be developed properly and not just do things that aren't necessarily appropriate or optimal just for the sake of practicing them. So there's a bit of a delicate balance there. So maybe I should skip devise and just make some other application after the fact or on the side where I play around with devise just for its own sake outside of this. That might be something I do, and I should just stick with making my own user table the same way I did for the other app. But as long as I don't get to that, I have all the time in the world until then to consider my options. So let's see, we would like to create the items table first. So, because that's really the core of it. That's the heart of it. So, that would be Ruby, bin, Rails, G, and I just want to make sure I get this syntax exactly right. So, just gonna look at a quick example. Generate. Because I still don't have this quite memorized. Generate. Model, name, singular, capital. Okay, so Rails, G, model, item. And then our fields. So we have description and notes. Where's that piece of paper? I feel like we're missing something here. After all this time, why didn't I notice this before? Something very important is missing, and that is the item name. A description, but not a name. Why wouldn't you want to name an item? Of course there should be a name. Ridiculous. Right? I mean, picture, you have a description. I mean, is the description adequate? We can make descriptions searchable, right? I feel like we should put full text indexes on the descriptions, but not so much the notes. Notes don't need to be searchable. But yeah, shouldn't there really be a name field? Right? Title. Gotta visualize this a second. Let's bring up the UI again. Hold on. Server. Right. So you'd have a picture of an item. Item description. But not a label or name field. You're mostly going by picture. And you're searching the description. Is there anything a name does that isn't really already handled by description, though? Yeah, it's kind of redundant. Yeah, we don't need a name. We don't need a name. I just noticed a lack of string fields. I'm like, shouldn't there be a string field? Does there need to be a string field? These text fields are enough. We don't need also a short string name. Nothing in name wouldn't also be in description anyway, right? Trying to imagine. So let's say you have I don't know, a white Linux Santa Claus tea light holder, for example. That's the description. You don't have to also have a name, Linux Santa tea light holder, and then also a description that says the same exact thing. That's redundant. So yeah, there's no need for name. There's no need for name calling here. Okay, let's be adults. Okay, so description text, notes text. I also need to look up how to include full text Rails migration. So hold on. Let's see. Add index users. Maybe answer with someone else might be able to. Okay, so we'll be doing a bit of this. So let's give credit where it's due. Found an answer for that. So we'll be editing the migration file before we run the migration for the description field. This fella Aros. Maybe his name's Aaron, Andrew. Who cares? Well, that was rude. I shouldn't say who cares. I'm sorry, Aros. Sorry, I should have been nicer to you. You helped me out, and that's how I treat you. That's the thanks you get. I'm a monster. So just leave that up, and then I'm going to set it over here out of the way so I can look at it, but you can't. But I can look at it. Okay. Description text. Notes text. Gotta put my mouse up here. Got a friggin' keyboard in my lap because laptop keyboard still doesn't work. It got fried when I spilled water on it weeks ago. Waiting for the new laptop to arrive that I ordered also weeks ago. Notes, text, so everything's a little wonky and uncomfortable. Picture, type, what? Oh, I don't know why I typed that, but you don't have to worry about creator yet. Add that after the fact. So it's really just description and notes. Yeah, because position is managed by containment, not item. Items don't have positions. Containers have positions. Because we don't need a complicated relationship between containers and other containers, because containers are unique, whereas an item, there can be many of them, and we need to track the various positions of the same item within various containers. So anyway, yeah, that looks good. I mean, we could always edit the migration file if I missed something, but I'm pretty sure that's it. Okay, we got our first migration. And then we'll go ahead and pop into there. You can close this. I mean, I really don't have to be so precious about that password. It's a throwaway that's used only for internal things anyway. But still, bad OPSEC is embarrassing, regardless. Fixtures, items, item.test, okay. And migration. Okay. Now, where do we add indexes? That's outside of the def change, right? I just want to double check something. So where we add indexes, yep, that's inside def change, outside of create table. Okay, so yeah, we got our foreign keys, etc. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and copy that add index there outside of our create table. This headset keeps slipping off my damn head. Let me tighten it. There we go. Okay, so add index items description name type full text and index items notes ft notes, and we're going to go ahead and run a db migrate. hopefully we pick up the pace a little bit because it's already well over half an hour in and we got one table done and no controllers. So let's see. Let's see. And no viewers. Okay, items. All right. Look at that. And we go ahead to older table. Let me check out indices. Got our indices. It's beautiful. It's beauteous. Did exactly what we wanted it to do. All right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So, next table. Let's do category and subcategory next after that. And then, okay, so let's move these around. Damn. Okay. Model category. Category. Name. String. See, here's where name and description would be different. Because description would be sort of instructions for what constitutes a member of a given category, and the name would be just a short thing that shows up in the little tag. So a name, description, distinction actually matters here. Text, not test, Jesus Christ. Category, name, string, description, text, okay. And those don't need to be searchable. We're not searching for categories by text and strings. We're searching for, we're passing the category and subcategory IDs and searching for the items based on whether or not their IDs show up in the association table. So we don't need to add indexes or full text to this. This here is fine as is, so we're going to go ahead and db migrate. And now we have that table. Now we're going to go ahead and do subcategory. Subcategory. Name, string, and it's the same deal with the name and description of this. Okay, description, text. References, category, I just want to double check that that uses singular. Oh, it's category references, there we go. I had that backwards. Yeah, that'll do. Right. Category references, foreign key true. No. False. should mean that subcategory belongs to category, and category should have a has many. So let me just double check the syntax of that real quick so we get it right. Belongs to article, belongs to user, article. As many comments, dependent, destroy. Yeah, if you destroy a category, then all subcategories should cease to be. As many subcategories. Destroy. Alright. Okay. And I believe if null is false, but present's true. It's fine. It's true. Yeah, we should definitely have some validations in here. This is just a status check. We don't really care about that. That's not even properly implemented in blog because I don't give a damn about that. That was part of the first tutorial before I moved on to the Deanin one. So anyway, category, subcategory, and item. Subcategory. We want to do a little validation in here. So category validates name, presence, true. Just want to double check the syntax there. Always. Yeah, that's the syntax. Okay. Validates description. Presence true. Right. And subcategory. Item. Validates notes. We'll do that in that order because why not? Alright, so we got our validations. Okay. From our migration. And then go into console real quick and play around a little. Let's just make sure everything's working as intended so far. So cat equals category dot new. Okay, actions. Stop. Jesus. Give us something like that. There we go. Name can't be blank. Description can't be blank. Beautiful. Okay, so cat dot name test. Cat dot description. It's just a test. There we go. Now it should be all loaded. We got an ID, created that, and updated that, and everything. Beautiful. Now, cat dot subcategories dot. Let's see how best to go about this. Let's look for some inspiration here in our comments controller. New, yeah, so let's do. There we go. Sub dot errors dot okay. Go here. And category must exist. Nice. Subcategories cannot exist without categories. That was what we intended. That's what we got. So far, so good. So far, I'm liking it. All right. So, in the same manner in which we have a set permissions, when we want to add an item to a category, or rather add a category to an item, right? Because we wouldn't go into a categories page of any sort. There's no such thing. There are container pages and item pages. We wanted to add categories to an item. Do you want to do that with a singular REST request for all categories and pass a list of categories, or do we want to have a REST request per category added or removed? For user permissions in the blog, for example, I have a set permissions that just takes an array of permission IDs and sets them as the user permissions. Very simple, straightforward. One call, one save button. You select permissions, but that works for that, especially with the way the UI would have to be implemented for permissions, where you just get a table of permissions. Subcategories are a little more complicated because they're nested within categories. And having to go through every category and checking off the ones you want and passing by the ones you don't, and then submitting once you are certain of all your subcategory selections for a given item. That just don't work for that. It just wouldn't be pleasant for the user. It would be much easier. Oh, I need to add a category, especially since with permissions, you might add every permission available. You're never going to have a situation where you add every category, every subcategory available to an item. So permissions, you just want one big one and done request for the permission IDs, and they're applied to the user, and that's that. I really wish these pop-ups would stop. When the antivirus behaves like a virus. I mean, what really makes a virus is how it spreads, not what it does once it gets there, technically. What makes an antivirus is just that it detects things that spread the way viruses do and removes them. What else it does It's a separate matter. What makes a virus bad and what makes a virus are two different things. When an antivirus begins doing some of the things that are the things that viruses typically do, that are the things that are the reason we don't like viruses, of what use is the antivirus? Think about that. The means by which it spreads is what's intrinsic to it. Giving you pop-ups, interrupting your work, randomly opening browser tabs to insecure pages. These are typical behaviors of viruses, but they aren't intrinsic to what makes it a virus. When your antivirus begins doing those things, you can extrapolate that discussion to lots of things that have an anti-prefix in. Anyway, so permissions, you want to pass them all at once for a user. With a category, with a subcategory, you want to be, on your item page, and you might select a subcategory that you want to add, or you might want to remove a subcategory. So it's going to be a per thing. So let's go to our route, where are you? Routes, there we go. Jesus Christ. So this bit here, no wait, that's that. Where are you? Set permissions. So this is going to be put and delete, and there's going to be an ID. Right, so if we go to here let's open a new window here. Okay. Ruby bin routes. For Christ's sake. You know what I meant. It's because that's a post. Because that's a post, we get API users ID set permissions. What we're instead going to get is a put or a post with an ID. That's going to be one per request. API v1 item ID subcategory with the ID in the request body. And it's going to be a separate delete. So if this is just one single set permission, so if you remove permissions, then you would just simply not have them in the JSON, the request body, and any that aren't present would just be deleted off. And that's done by just updating the set of IDs that are associated in that one simple call in not user RB, user controller, right here where we're just passing permission IDs. Instead, it will be, per item, per subcategory, add or delete, one at a time. So you're on your items page, you either pop in or pop off a subcategory to that item. But before that, we need that association table right there. So let's go ahead and create that association table. And that's users, permissions, create user permissions, create users permissions. So that really should be alphabetical though. So we have item and subcategory, so it would be item subcategory. So we need to go in to here. To Warehome, cd server, Ruby, bin, Rails, G, migration. We're just going to create a blank migration. Although I wonder if there is a generator for, let me just double check real quick. Active record migrations, active record associations. Let's see as and belongs to many association. Okay. Let's just look through this. Yeah, it looks like you just drop a table creation in. Yeah, how they would do it is just you would generate a migration that has both those tables, and you would create it all at once if you want to create it all at once. I don't want to create it all at once. I already created items. I already created subcategories. So I'm creating a separate migration for just the association table. That way I can, I like to keep things a little more modular. So if I want to just roll back the migration table and redo the association table and then redo that, maybe I don't like something about just the association table in particular. I don't want to create 3 tables in one migration. Because then if I have to roll that back, I'm rolling back everything. And there might be a time and a place for putting it all in at once, where it would be silly not to do that. Just be a waste, but I don't really see that much of a downside to doing 1 table per migration. It's a matter of taste. There's no reason I couldn't have put the items, subcategories, categories, containers, all the tables all at once in a single migration. It's just preference. So, Ruby bin Rails G migration. Create items. Create items subcategories table. There we go. And let's see. Let's go to our migrations. Create table. Items, subcategories, tables. No, that's ridiculous. Why did you do that? Whatever. Okay, so I probably should have included the word table, but it is what it is. It's really just the class name and file name of the migration. It's not going to affect the table it actually creates as long as we correct the table name here anyway. Didn't have to add the word table in there. So try to remember that for next time. So we're just going to go ahead and copy this here. And then adapt it as needed. So we'll just pop this down here so that we can see it. Okay, so create table. We need our primary key. And that'll be item ID, and this will be subcategory ID. Category ID. Okay, we don't need timestamps, we just need item. Subcategory. And then a little bit of foreign key magic. Add foreign key. Item subcategories. Okay. Items. Subcategories. Delete cascade, and we'll see if that doesn't give us what we need. Alright, we also need a little bit of magic in the model here. So let's go back to user as it belongs to many. And we need, now, what order do we want to put that in? Do we want to put validation after? Yeah, validation should be after. So it should be composition, validation, and methods. So as many user sessions as, yeah. Okay, so belongs to many subcategories and subcategory many items. And then we do a little bit of the old Ruby bin Rails DB migrate. A little bit of that action there. Create items, categories, table, migrate. Okay. Might have to reload. See if sub is still in there. Or if I have to start over. Yep. No. Oh. Alright, that's interesting. That's neato. That's real fucking neato. Alright. So we could actually create an item from a subcategory in theory. So far everything's working as intended. One thing I also want to throw in there is, let's go to article, and we'll just, what if there's a has many attached? If there's a has one attached, that implies the existence of has many attached item. Feel like I want to put that above subcategories. Yeah. Has one attached image. Okay. Another thing. Come on, mobile. Middle click should open a new window. Why are you not opening a new one? Open a new window. Anything else, you middle click it, it gives you a new window. Why is Git extensions giving me trouble? I said give me a new window. I am middle clicking you. That means new window. Why are you defying me? Damn it. Fine. Just switch. Oh, are you kidding me? Now I got a new window. Rude. How very dare you, sir. Alright. I just want to look at when I edit files. Article form refactor, test and service. Edit images. Okay, so that's when article has one attached. That's when we generate that. And I just want to see. Okay, you just have to. Sorry about that. Yeah, so the only thing that would be missing is when I do the controller. I have to add the logic to add the image in the response data when fetching, which, okay, so that means everything for images is already working up to where we need it to. So that's good. So let's see, we have category, we have subcategory, we have item, we have the join table. Container. Container's a toughie. So, let's just, Windows, you're not helping. Okay, so Ruby warehouse. Okay, container. So we want to do Ruby bin rails g model container. Now containers, items should be searchable. Do we need to search containers by their text? By the description? Do we want to be able to search for containers? I mean, not really. You search through containers. There's going to be a tree view, you know? Yeah. If you have a rough idea of where your container is, you would look in your other containers. But the trouble is, containers need names. And I'll tell you why containers need names. You need a short string for displaying in that little sidebar, right? That little tree view. Ugh, I closed it again. Damn it. Yeah, we're gonna have that little tree view. Not unlike this here tree view in Windows Explorer, you know. And we don't want an arbitrarily long description to be showing up in that tree view. So we need a short name that we give each container. It doesn't need to be searchable. We don't need to search for containers by name. It's just for display purposes. But yeah, so name string. Items don't need names, right? Items don't really need item names. They just need item descriptions. And those need to be searchable. Did I add an index to notes? Because notes don't need to be searchable. Yeah, I added a full text to notes. Notes don't need to be searchable. Why did I do that? The only thing that needs to be searchable is the description of an item. We'd be searching for items by the description, we'd be showing items based on what container they're in, and we'd be showing items by searching for items by category. Filtering by category. So search by description, display by container, filter by category. Notes did not need a full text. There's no reason for that, but it's there. We'll leave it. Don't know why I did that in hindsight. I can go back and watch and see what I was saying around the time I did that, but really didn't need this. This was totally unnecessary. In fact, there's a chance to roll back everything. But first, that way I don't have to, because there's no data yet. I can roll back. If there was data, then what you would want to do is create another migration that removes that index, that full text, if you really wanted to remove that full text. But since there's no data yet, it doesn't hurt to just roll everything back, edit, and then remigrate. So that's what I'm going to do after I finish this. So let's get back to what we're doing. Now, is there a way to... I mean, we don't need to call it parent. I mean, a container's container is its... You can just let it still be called container. Container.container, the container of the container that contains the container. I kind of want to call that parent, but not sure how to customize the name of a reference in active record. Belongs to association. Book belongs to author. Book that author. Like this. Let's look at this. Let's look through this guide here real quick. All right. They don't really mention if, say, you wanted to refer to a user as a creator, right? Rails has one. Oh, I'm using the wrong keyboard. See? Let's build order on that one. Custom name. Where did that E come from? Yeah. So, writer and reader. Next to writer, class name, user. Oh, so you just throw in Class name user equals to here. Post class has writer ID and reader ID. Writer ID and reader ID. I want to create association for both writer IDs that I use called post writer to get user object. This belongs to custom name. Belongs to for Dale's product. Must use the name of the association. Also need to add the foreign key to belongs to familiar producto. Yeah. As many products. Just use belongs to since the foreign key should be stored on the post table. So create table references author post table users author class name user. Okay. This is nice. This is what we want. So we'll leave out if there is a way to describe that on the command line. Well, container, name string, description, text, notes, text, position, string. Although, I mean, the container's position. Yeah, the container's position would be displayed in the left side, right? But what about a topmost container? Yeah, then you would just say position is office, wine fridge, decorations closet. It's the position. Name. Name and position kind of do the same thing, but for the outermost container, it should be called name, and for any other containers, position or name is adequate to describe what it is. So we're basically changing the name of position to name for containers. So container name, description, notes, and name is going to do what position is doing, and that's describe what or where it is. So if it's such and such closet, or if it's the left area of the closet, if it's the forward stack within the left area of the closet, if it's the middle bin of the forward stack of the left area of the closet. Yeah, it's a name. Container name. Notes, text, picture is added. Creator will be added later. So let's see if that'll generate. That generates. That generates. But what does it generate? References parent null false foreign key true. Okay, let's move this over so that I can see it better on this side. And let's go here. So T references container. Oh, references parent null false foreign key to table containers. There we go. And let's see if that migrates. First, go back. Okay, that's subcategories. Now, item was the first, wasn't it? Yeah, item was the first. Then we're going to go ahead and do db migrate all the way to the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables. Containers, okay. So and then now I have to double check though. I want to make sure that when you delete a container, it just deletes all other containers. You know, and then it should delete the containment of all those containers. So I want to ensure that it's done by the database. So let's see. On delete cascade. Cascade. Should have been in there. On delete nullify. Yeah, you put it in there. So if you delete a section, you want to make sure that all subcontainers just get deleted, right? Or do you want to just nullify it? It also has to be nullable too, because you can't have a shit. It's got to be null true. Otherwise, you can't have a first container because there's no parent. So you need to be nullable. Yeah, cascade. Because you don't want to leave orphan containers that don't have a parent set. Well, yeah. Yeah, because you add the subcontainer from the container, and I don't want to have a whole other. At least I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to be implemented. We could always change it, it's always subject to change. But I feel like when you're in the container display, you can either add a top level container from here, or you add a container within a container from here. Right? Then once a container is created, do we want to allow you to change its parent? Because if that's the case, then it would just be nullify and not cascade when you delete a parent container. That's the trouble. But if a container does get moved with all its contents in the real world, you don't want to have to remake that container in the system. You'd rather just set its new home, its new location in the system. So yeah, we do want to implement a way of setting a container's new parent if it gets moved. Maybe to a different stack, and that stack is represented as a container in the system. And you want to retain all of the contents of that container in the system without having to refill the container. So yeah, we want to make parent editable, which means we don't need to cascade. We should nullify. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then container belongs to parent. Okay. Class name. Container. And has many. I just want to see something. Okay, containers. Parent ID. Yeah. children. Right. Category has many subcategories. Class name, also container. Foreign key, parent ID, right? So we have to refer to the foreign key. See, because this is recursive, it's a little, let's make sure we get this right. So here, you'll see, let's just bring this up. In the user class, you have to refer to the foreign key that's on the post table, which should be author ID. Now this happens to be parent ID. So in our has many children, class name, also container. And foreign key, parent ID. So go here. Container.new. Okay. Okay. Don't need notes. Okay, so we'll just do container.save. Container.errors.all messages. That's because we mistyped that. Parent must exist. Horse hockey. No, it must not. Belongs to. So we need to figure out a nullable belongs to. So optional true. Lovely. Simple. Elegant. I love it. So now we have to reload. Dependent destroy has many secondaries belongs to. Okay. I like hasn't how hasn't belongs to many doesn't put you through that, but I guess there's a reason. You'd have to be able to create one or the other to then create the other of the two, but now I have to reload. Okay. Anytime you want a launch console. There we go. Okay. What was it? Beautiful. Okay, now. Okay, now we have our save one loaded. So. Container dot children dot new. Okay. Left equals container dot children dot new. Left side. Okay. Left dot children dot new. Okay. So we have these three. Okay. And okay, so we have three containers and bottom bin. Oh. Bottom bin. So there we go. So we already have a few things here. Okay. Stack dot children dot new bin dot names. Okay. Just like that, we've populated a bunch of bins. So if we go here, go to our containers and we load, there we go. We have a nice little tree of containers. Beautiful. One day I'll probably, maybe tomorrow, put up a picture of what the inside of this closet looks like so we can get a better idea of what we're describing here. I think tomorrow we'll start the stream off with that. So, we have category, subcategory, item, and container defined. Also need to tie in little pretty pictures with our containers. So let's go to item and take that has one attached image and container. Go, item. Validates name, true, and description. You really should validate description as well as name. Shouldn't be not describing things, so. Just do that. And there we go. So we got description, name is now position is now name. Notes is not validated. Item. You don't really need to validate notes. There doesn't need to be notes on an item. If there's nothing to note, then there's nothing to note. So we're not validating notes. We're validating only description because that's what's searchable. We need to be able to find the item. So there needs to be a description. There doesn't need to be notes. Does it need to be notes on subcategory? Does it need to be notes on container for that matter? I don't think subcategory has notes. No. So I just looked at the wrong class. But yeah, it seems to work. So all right. I think that's great. So that works. There we go. So all of our little relationships work as intended here. I think that's great. So we're doing fantastic so far. I mean, we're running low on time. We got 15 minutes left, and I actually do have a thing at 10:30, so I kind of have to stop on time tonight. But so far we've got, you know, our 5 top tables here. So now we just need containment and checkout. Then tomorrow I think we can work on controllers. We got the model, the controllers, and then after that we can start working on the view a little bit. By view I mean the UI that's been neglected tonight. But I think we did a pretty good job in the last hour and so of establishing our model. So we need a through relationship here. So let's look at active record associations has many through. Has one through, has many through, and hasn't belongs to many. So Rails offers 2 different ways to declare a many-to-many relationship between models. The first way is to use the has and belongs to many, which we're very familiar with, and that is just a simple ID pair table. And that is our item subcategories right here. Item ID, subcategory ID. I haven't created any items. We should test item creation real quick. So, item equals item dot new item dot save item dot errors dot full messages. Yeah, so just description. So item dot description equals large collapsible. I use collapse an iron A. Let me just double check the spelling of collapsible real quick. Yeah, I spelled it right. I'm just tired, so it doesn't look right to me, the word. Collapsible Santa. Okay. Item dot save. Item dot subcategories. Dot. Is there an add? Hmm. No categories yet. Okay, so cat equals okay, so we need name and description. So cat dot name equals abstract. Broad concepts. Sub equals cat dot subcategories dot new sub dot name equals Santa. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Sub dot portraying or okay. hell do you actually populate it individually? Because all I know is how to populate all the IDs at once, and that's by just setting all IDs. How do you add a single individual instance? Users dot set permissions. How do you just add one? That's the question. That's the burning question. Insert into categories. Oh, I didn't save those yet? Hold on. Oh, I didn't actually save this sub, did I? Cat.save. False. Oh, I didn't do a successful cat.save yet, that's why. Okay. Well, now, anyway. Item dot subcategories. Beautiful. So yeah, everything so far works pretty well. So I might have to call it soon. So far so good. Everything is working as intended, doing what we want it to do. Our validations work. We can push things, pop things probably. I could say, I'm just going to assume that that's the case. If we can push, then probably we can pop. I would hope. So that means add and delete work. So our controllers are going to be very straightforward to implement. We'll start them tomorrow night after we finish the models, because we didn't finish the models tonight, but we came a long way. We did a good bit of testing. Everything is working as intended so far. I kind of want to just bang this out real quick. So, as it belongs to many. Rails offers two ways to declare a many. The second way is there has many through. Okay, so we're doing a through. So container has many items through. Many through ship. Table manifests primary key. Okay, so Rails. Is there a way to do that quickly on the command line? Probably not. Yeah, so I'll just generate the model and then so yeah, has many through. So well yeah, I would just generate the model and it'd just be references. So item container. So yeah. So Ruby bin Rails G model, and that's going to be containment. As many containments. Containment item references. Container references. All right. It's recommended to use primary key, simply ID, part ID in the example above. Okay, so that's what we'll do. So no ID, container item quantity int. How about integer? Surely you know what an integer is. All right, and we have models containment at RB, create containments. Okay, so that gives us our duty timestamps created at, modified at. That's fine, we'll keep that. Okay. We definitely want to keep our timestamps. The only difference is we want our primary key to be item container ID, right? Item subcategory. Okay, so we're just gonna split this view out and then go back here to here. Okay, and make table containments. Primary key item ID. Container ID. Do references. Item null false. Foreign key true. If the item is deleted, then you delete containments. On delete Cascade. Same for this. On delete Cascade. Oh, fine. So when a container is deleted, all containments are deleted. And when an item is deleted, all containments for that item are deleted. Primary key is item ID and container ID. Add foreign key. Just do that. Oh yeah, no, foreign key is in there. Belongs to category, references item. This is item, belongs to item. references category foreign key true. Yeah, that's one way to do it. So yeah, containment's primary key. I think that's what we want. I hope that's what we're looking for there. So let's just test that out. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a db migrate and hope for the best. Containments. Okay, let's just check this out. Primary key, foreign key references. Okay, Rails. Okay, items, item ID. Foreign key. On update restrict, on delete cascade. Containers. Okay. Name description and yeah, that'd be wild. But yeah, let's just not save any changes here. Columns. Yeah, everything seems to be in order here, so that's beautiful. Okay, so we got all but one table done. ID, containment, quantity. Okay, item. So let's just finish the models. We can close these out. Let's just finish the models up real quick. So container, containment belongs to item belongs to container. Okay. Okay, so we'll just go into container and item. Has one attached image, belongs to parent, has many children, has many containments. Items through containments, okay. And then item belongs to many subcategories. As many containers through containments. All right. And we just want to exit, relaunch the console. And then let's see. All right. Left side, okay. Okay. Middle walls. Closet dot children dot new middle dot name equals middle dot description Equals. Middle dot save. Okay, middle dot save. Okay. Middle. Okay, so section. Okay. Okay. Oh, so it's working. Now, what if we require quantity and so we subcategory containment validates quantity, presence true, validates position, presence true. Okay. Okay. Then we go back into our console. And we Need another item then. Let's see. Turkey equals. Item dot new. Turkey dot description equals. Okay. Notes created. Okay. Turkey or relatable. And then middle section. Okay, so containment dot item equals turkey. Containment dot quantity. And so far so good. This will work beautifully once we have a UI around it. Everything is doing exactly what we want it to do. The only thing missing, as far as the models go, is checkout. And I am going to be late for raids. Hold on, let me just go to Discord real quick. Wednesdays and Fridays are raids at 10:30. See, yep, Alex is pissed at me. Because he sometimes starts early. Okay, so I better go. Yeah, if he was starting on time instead of early, I would have gotten that last table in, but I'm getting called away. Time to go kill some things. Time to go kill some big things. Big ol' demons and such. But this was a good session. We got all but checkout done as far as models go. We've got all our relationships in place except for anything pertaining to user, because I'm still on the fence about devise. I probably am not going to use it, but I am going to have to set up roles. So I'm going to have to make that decision by tomorrow, because then tomorrow I can just wrap up all things related to model, have our users table, our roles table, our permissions table, and of course our checkout table, which I really shouldn't build before users is in place anyway. So that's it. So far, so good. Everything is working as intended. So call it a night. Pick up where we left off tomorrow, same time. Finish up the models, and then it's Thursday, so Friday we'll work on controllers, and by the end of this week we should have pretty much a functioning API. Next week, next Monday, we'll start the UI work, and who knows, we might have this mostly, at least the basic functionality, built within like 2 weeks. This goes pretty quickly. Rails and React development, once you at least have, I mean, I'm a novice. I only just started learning this less than 2 months ago. January 3rd, I think I started actually learning Rails. I was reading other things before even starting. I mean, the blog has it all. I want to go back to the very beginning of the blog, see exactly when I started learning Rails proper. Oh, it's not running. No, it's not really worth it. Point is, this is pretty easy stuff, pretty quick and easy stuff once you start to get the hang of it. I mean, I've only just started learning, and look how fast I can go. We're 3 days in, and by 3 days I mean 6 hours. So less than one full work day, and I've already got spun up a whole model, and that includes all the design time, fully designing an application in 2 hours of real development, and we've already got 90% of our model in place. So if I were doing full 8-hour work days of this, I could build this entire application in under a week, probably, but we're doing 2-hour chunks. So learn Rails, learn React, build shit fast. Use 2 words to accomplish something that you'd need like 40 lines of code in some other languages. Look at you, Cold Fusion. I mean, look, we saw that example the other day. I brought that up. That 1 line of Rails code that's equivalent to about 20 lines of Cold Fusion. Look at how quickly we can just bang this all out. I love it. Liking Rails, I'm gonna be sticking with Rails for a long time, I think. I like what it can do, like what I can do with it. So that's all. Same time tomorrow, 8 to 10.